we've made it to the final part of the Eurovision 2024 Iceberg. This means today we're going through the 3 most deranged, most detached from reality tiers on the whole thing. I'm also joined by a very special guest later, so make sure not to go anywhere, you're not going to want to miss this. In addition, I also have a new camera, so I should look slightly less pixely, and it also means because of the wider lens, I'm joined by my peace lily Bess. Before we start, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy it. Make sure to follow me and my editor Jay on Twitter, and you can follow me on Instagram as well. We have a Discord server and the link is in the description. If you want to support the channel financially or you want to see videos a day early, you can do that over on Patreon. The link is in the description for that too. Without further ado, it's time to start, and we're starting as we mean to go on, with Maltese sausage water. If this isn't an indication of where this video is going, then I don't know what is. As part of the show, during the first semi-final of the Maltese selection, they were blindfolded and given unusual drinks. One of those drinks, for some reason, was gin mixed with sausage water. Mars is about Elsa Lila's arrest. On last year's Iceberg, I told you about Elsa Lila, the Albanian singer arrested in Italy for allegedly being part of a drug trafficking ring. While Elsa was released without charge, she did serve some time in an Italian jail while she was awaiting her trial.
I want to be a woman that can give courage to other women that have sad stories like my life, and I'm not referring only to my wrong arrest.
That time in jail inspired her entry into the Albanian national final this year, entitled Mars. Eurovision Reddit regular participates in UVPSM. One of the beauties of the San Marinese national selection, Una Voce per San Marino, is that anyone can enter it, no matter what your experience and no matter what your musical background. That meant that a number of Eurovision fans who are active in online communities around the contest chose to apply this year, and one of those made it to the semi-finals. His song, appropriately, was titled Try My Luck. I want you by my side. Honestly, it takes some serious guts to get up there and do this, so I have massive respect to Emil Lindholm, which is the guy's name. This fan can now say he participated in a Eurovision national final, and not many of us can say that. Annalisa is pregnant. Usually on the first night of Sanremo, artists, before they perform, descend down the stairs. Annalisa didn't do this, instead appearing from the side. For some reason, this started a rumor among fans that she was pregnant, which she wasn't. Obviously. Diodato kidnapped Aldo Moro. An anonymous person edited former Italian Prime Minister Aldo Moro's Wikipedia page to say that he was kidnapped by Italian Eurovision 2020 entrant Diodato alongside 2024 Sanremo participants Gali and Dargen D'Amico. This was only up for a few minutes, but in that time it caused national outrage in Italy. This is probably because Aldo Moro was actually assassinated, and Italians perhaps don't think that this is something that should be joked about. The Wikipedia page for John F. Kennedy was also changed, so Diodato was briefly responsible for his assassination as well. Only time will tell whether Diodato was in fact standing on the grassy knoll. Malmo ferrets. For whatever reason, the city of Malmo thought it would be a great idea to bring in ferrets ahead of the contest to try and catch the rats. The rat epidemic in the city at the time had gotten out of control. This crack team of ferrets was led by this guy called Taco. Unfortunately for Taco, he did fall asleep on duty, but I think we can all agree that he clearly tried his best and he deserves a raise. Stockholm's main arenas this year were not available at the time of Eurovision, and this presented a key stumbling block for the city's bid to host the contest. One of those arenas was unavailable because Taylor Swift's Eras tour was in town at the time of the contest. Eurovision can buy out some artists when it comes to securing arenas when bookings are already in place. There is no way that Eurovision can afford to buy out Taylor Swift. Quite frankly, as well, in a fandom war between Eurovision fans and Swifties, I think Swifties would probably win. Swifties, if you're watching this, please don't hurt me. I respect you and I am terrified of you. Please leave me alone. And also, I actually quite like Taylor Swift. In any case, this, along with all the other arenas in Stockholm, quickly disappeared as options. Their backup plan to build a temporary arena was completely rejected. Tudor Bumbac trap remix. Moldovan national treasure Tudor Bumbac came back to the Moldovan national selection this year with his song Tudorel. Just when we thought he couldn't get any more iconic, he released a trap version of the song, and it sounds like this. Örnsköldsvik cruise ships. We were expecting the big 3 Swedish cities, that's Stockholm, Gothenburg and Malmö to bid to host Eurovision this year, but a left field bid came from a fourth city, Örnsköldsvik, with a population of 33,000. After Gothenburg's aging arena meant that was ruled out, it became one of the final three options on the table. In order to meet the hotel rooms requirement, the city planned to park 2 massive cruise ships in the town's port. Despite the fact we all laughed at this, I actually am starting to wonder whether we are going to see this for real in the contest in the next few years. It keeps trending towards smaller and smaller cities, and before long, a country that cannot sustain the contest in any city, given how much it's grown, may win the show. If that's the case, the cruise ship option might not seem very stupid anymore. No background music in Luxembourg auditions. For some reason, the closed audition stage of the Luxembourgish national final involved artists singing with no backing track. This just kind of reminds me of X Factor in the UK in the mid-2000s.
Bring on that pecan pie.
Lmao skin burning. Swedish artist Nemo was seen with an ice pack on his hand at the end of Melodifestivalen, and that's Sweden's national selection for Eurovision. As it turned out, in the final of the show, he burned them doing this fire trick in the bridge of his song. It sort of paid off as he finished 5th in the show, but this one was never going to challenge for the win. French 41 country leak. The French head of delegation said in an interview that she was looking forward to seeing 41 countries participating in the contest this year. This naturally made Euro fans think that a number of countries were returning, and speculation started on which countries they would be. Obviously, given that 37 actually participated and there was never more than 38 or 39 on the table, the head of delegation clearly misspoke. Bingo card on Luxembourg's national final. The Luxembourgish broadcaster posted a bingo card that viewers could fill in while watching the show. Unfortunately, they have deleted this from the internet, so instead of showing you the bingo card, I'm instead showing you the article talking about the bingo card, which they have removed the link to the actual card from. Angelina Mango in the Turkish election. In Turkey, presumably in protest against the actual candidates on display, somebody attempted to vote for Angelina Mango instead. Unfortunately, she was not elected. Erik Saade blocked by Eurovision accounts. Erik Saade participated in Eurovision for Sweden in 2011. He also was one of the opening acts in the semi-finals this year. However, during the run-up to the contest, he got himself in a sticky situation with the EBU. Erik is of Palestinian heritage, and naturally this means he's very vocal on the issue of Palestinian human rights, and consequently on Israel's participation in the contest this year. Erik took this screenshot suggesting that he had been blocked on Instagram by the official Eurovision account. The EBU scrambled to clarify on Twitter that Erik Saade had never been blocked from their social media accounts, and they were investigating why he wasn't able to tag them. 2 together now, and it's Timu's Socks on Fire and Windows 95 Man trapped in Jeg. These both refer to rehearsal mishaps involving Windows 95 Man from Finland. Firstly, it's this one where the Jeg, instead of staying open after he jumped out of it, tries to eat him. Secondly, in the section of the song where he has sparks shooting out of his hot pants, in one rehearsal, these got a little too close to his feet. Elsie Bay, boyfriend controversy. Elsie Bay is a Norwegian singer and songwriter who has infamously failed to win any national final she has entered, to the point that some people in the fandom refer to this as a curse. She has been the favourite for multiple national finals and still never delivered a victory. This might explain why she posted a series of TikToks after Eurovision this year, saying that her boyfriend had won the show. This is technically true, as her boyfriend, Lasse Neumann, is one of the songwriters for The Code. However, the TikToks never mentioned him by name, and they only displayed Nemo. This led some people to accuse Elsie of deliberately implying that Nemo was her boyfriend, in order to promote her own image. Natalia Barbu versus Nudist Demons. After failing to qualify for the final of Eurovision this year, which was a surprise to absolutely nobody except for Natalia Barbu apparently, rather than facing the fact that her song simply wasn't very good, she instead reposted a story to her Instagram saying that in order to do well in Eurovision, you had to be, quote, a nudist or a demon. Baby Lasagna hemorrhoid cream. This is going to be a really long video, Jesus. Baby Lasagna posted this Instagram story about his wife buying him hemorrhoid cream. Let's just move on. Luis Agili enters FIK. I once again have been clowned on, by the way, for saying FIK instead of FIK. This happens in every live chat where I mention this national final from Albania, and I'm going to stick to my guns. Your bullying will not cow me. Anyway, Luis Agili participated in Eurovision in 2006 for Albania, and he was widely rumoured to be returning to the Albanian national selection FIK this year. This was because he had just been in the Albanian version of Big Brother and done very well. He didn't enter the show. I don't know why this is in tier 7, but it's on the list, so I'm telling you about it. HRT employees in Dora. HRT is the Croatian broadcaster and also J.K. Rowling's worst enemy. This is Mario Batifiacha, and he works for that national broadcaster. He also successfully made it to the live shows of Dora, the Croatian national selection this year, with this song. Remember, the committee that selected that thought it was better than Rim Tim Tagi Dim by Baby Lasagna. Some people have added 1 and 1 together to make 2 here and suggested that his affiliation with the broadcaster may have made it slightly easier for him to get into the show. Second chance round rumours. This refers to a completely baseless rumour that there would be an additional show at Eurovision this year. This would be a second chance round and offer some sort of alternative path to the final for songs that didn't qualify from the semis. This was never even under serious consideration, so to be honest, I don't know where this came from. Krista Bjorkman does not have enough influence in the contest yet to do this. Electric Field's Age Mysteries. Zachariah Fielding is either 32 or 33, and nobody knows how old Michael Ross is. Again, I don't know why that's in tier 7. With that, we have finished that tier and it's on to tier 8, and things are only going to get stranger from here. GPB uses national final top on TV broadcasts. During a TV broadcast about the contest, Georgian TV used a ranking video from ESC Samuel as a backdrop. Frustratingly, the account that posted this is now on private, so I cannot access the video. Alyona Al-Qaeda. Just like many hip-hop artists, Alyona from Ukraine has gone by several aliases. Unfortunately, one of them was this. Benidorm title leaks on disc. Having previously threatened to sue leakers, we talked about that in part 1, the Spanish broadcaster RTVE accidentally leaked the names of all of the Benidorm Fest songs, that's the Spanish national final, themselves. The mistake occurred when the album was listed for pre-order, and accompanying the pre-order listing was every single name. Dick's song played for children. This took place in Karlstad in Sweden at an event linked to Melodifestivalen. Someone made a bit of a mistake with the playlist, accidentally playing a song that had this line in, which I can't pronounce, so I've got a Swede to do it instead.
Kuken står I alla jävla hål.
This translates as, the dick is in all the fucking holes. Presumably, someone was fired for this.
Subscribe to ESC Gabe.
Supercomputer predicting Eurovision winners. A supposed supercomputer predicted that one of Georgia finished in 21st, Malta and Denmark, who didn't qualify, and the UK, who got a big fat 0 from the public, would win the entire contest. One of the reasons was that the UK's song started with the letter D. Try again next year. Malmo police seizes chips. An investigation was launched by the Malmo police after police checking bags at the entrance to the Eurovision village allegedly stole some crisps. These were bound for a restaurant inside. They were rumbled after the restaurant did their inventory and found that they were 4 bags short. The suppliers then confirmed that it was the police that took them at the entrance. This was not the only incident involving the police in Eurovision that week. One thing this does share with the Joost Klein incident is that nobody was charged at the end of it. I am a fat cow. On the turquoise carpet, the hostess said this to Serbian artist Teodora.
If I say a big welcome to Sweden, it is Ja sam debela kraba.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's exactly right.
That's how you say it, yes.
Unfortunately for her, someone was pulling her leg because this translates to I am a fat cow. Windows 95 man's balls. Why do I make these videos? Windows 95 man's balls were briefly visible on screen during his grand final performance. There is absolutely no chance that I'm putting this on screen, and I don't want to think about this, so we are moving on. If you want to see this, then firstly, I'm judging you. Secondly, look it up yourself. Well, she didn't. During the premiere of Spain's entry, Zora by Nebulosa, somebody in chat bemoaned the fact that the giant mushroom herself, Sophia Cole, had not won the ticket to Eurovision in their place. The official Eurovision channel, clearly running out of patience, decided to clap back with the words, well, she didn't. Greek jury conspiracy. In the 2023 final, there was a political scandal in Greece and Cyprus, after the Greek jury only gave Cyprus 4 points. Things have been going downhill between the two ever since. The Cypriot ambassador to Greece claimed this year that the Greek broadcaster ERT was conspiring to give Cyprus a low low score in the final of the show. In the end, the Greek jury awarded 10 to Cyprus. This is unusually low, but just enough to avoid a diplomatic incident. Eurovox interview sampled in Mahmoud's album. Two-time Eurovision participant Mahmoud sampled an interview with Andy from Eurovox in his new album. Here's what the interview was like.
How do I say goodbye in Italian, apart from ciao?
Here it is sampled in Mahmoud's record.
Goodbye in Italian, apart from ciao. Teach me let's wrap it up in Italian.
Swiss 2008 singer accuses Annalisa of autotune. 2008 Swiss Eurovision entrant Paolo Meneguzzi accused Sanremo participant this year Annalisa of using autotune in her song Sinceramente. This was because of how perfectly in tune her voice was. Paolo, of course, is extremely well qualified to comment on musical merit, having failed to qualify from a Eurovision semi-final which included this. Annalisa was of course not using autotune, but the mention of this allows me to quickly take a diversion to appreciate the bridge of Sinceramente once again. Seriously, this was one of the moments of the year for me. Justina's manager attacks TikTok artist. Thank you to this Reddit user who explained this one. Justina Steczkowska, who was in the national selection in Poland, her Instagram manager shared posts praising Justina, but accidentally shared a post which attacked one of the other participants. In this story, it says that an experienced performer should be chosen, like Justina, and not some TikTok girl. This TikTok girl was Izabela Zabielska. Justina's account deleted this post shortly after it was made. However, the damage was done, with Izabela saying that it's a shame because Justina was my idol. Experienced vocalists shouldn't share something like that. Justina apologized, and when she saw it, she immediately ordered it be taken down from her account. She also said that Izabela was a great vocalist. Fiorella Mannoia by Mariposa. The singer Fiorella Mannoia's Sanremo entry this year was called Mariposa. In response, a band called Mariposa released a song called Fiorella Mannoia. It sounded like this. Peter Pan Quartet Communist Pin. If there's one thing that's totally uncontroversial in Eastern Europe, it's communism. This terrible band from Albania's singer wore this pin during their performance at the Festivali I Këngësh. Remember, that's Albania's national selection. Luckily, Albania doesn't have any complicated history with communism whatsoever, so I'm sure this carried absolutely zero controversy. 10 fans hear Titan. Staying in Albania, their entrant Bessa tweeted asking for 10 Eurovision fans to be the first to hear the revamped version of her song Titan. Allegedly, Bessa did actually choose 10 people, but they never actually got to hear the song before everyone else. As it happened, they were not missing anything anyway, because this revamp completely ruined what was a quite good song before it happened. Sand for Emma Muscat. This year, Saba participated in Eurovision for Denmark with her song Sand. However, she was not the first Eurovision artist to consider it. 2 years ago, Maltese singer and Nepo baby Emma Muscat came to the contest with I Am What I Am. This did terribly and didn't get close to qualifying for the final. However, the song she rejected in favour of I Am What I Am was the very same song that Saba sung this year. Sadly, no demo exists, but I'm sure someone out there will have a copy and maybe one day it'll make its way out into the public. Bessa Kokadima Selectia Națională entry. Going back to Bessa for a minute, she actually entered the Romanian national final in 2009. Unfortunately, Bessa suffered the rare and unique humiliation of going out in the semi-finals of Romania's national selection. At least that prepared her for the disappointment of the same fate which awaited her at Eurovision this year. Vote Giolia, get 20% off a sandwich. The sandwich shop Paninoteca da Gino did their best to help Giolia win Sanremo this year by making a very special offer on Instagram. If you voted for Giolia on the final night of the show and could prove it, you would be given 20% off of your sandwich. After backlash, the restaurant claimed it was a joke. Giolia did win the televote in Sanremo by a landslide, but didn't win the show overall. It's unlikely that that landslide had anything to do with this small sandwich shop in Naples. Bessa leaks FIK televote results. Yep, we're going back to Bessa again. The full televote results of Festivali I Këngësh this year were not ever released. However, Bessa did leak some of the details. During an argument with a random guy on Twitter, she revealed that the top 3 were Olsi Balta in second and Troy Band in third, with her, of course, winning the show. Elsa Lila allegedly came 5th. You may have noticed that a couple of items have been omitted from the 2 tiers we have just covered. Specifically, they are the ones related to this year's winner, Nemo. It's time to show you why.
Here we go.
Indeed. Welcome to a very special segment of the Eurovision Iceberg Explained with this year's Eurovision winner, Nemo.
Hey.
We're going to be covering all of the items on the iceberg, including the ones that I explained in previous parts that involve Nemo. And we have plenty to get through, so I am going to get straight to the first one, which is Nemo broke the code, the trophy, and their thumb. Firstly, how was your thumb, and which one was it?
Well, I think it's due to the fact that English is not my first language, that I somehow said I broke my thumb, but I actually just cut it.
Oh.
So it's like, it was all over the news and like media in Switzerland as well. And like, I'm just imagining like a broken thumb. No, but I let the trophy, like I broke it.
Were you just putting it down on the stage?
Yeah, I was putting it down on stage. It wasn't really harshly as well. Like it was pretty soft motion in my memory. Anyway, it broke, and then when I like showed someone that it broke, and I was like really excited about the fact that it broke, I somehow like slit like my whole thumb, and it just started like bleeding all over like my outfit as well. Like they had it dry clean since the outfit, like the Swiss broadcaster, they took it and made it nice again. But it was like really dramatic, and everyone was so excited in that moment that no one really realized that I was hurt. Like I was like, no, I'm bleeding, and they're like, yeah, you won Eurovision, amazing. And I'm like,
I need medical attention.
And then they brought someone like on stage, but it was literally just a person with a band-aid or something. And they tried to like just put a band-aid on, and it was obviously not enough. But I had to go like through the press conference and everything like just with that band-aid because time was kind of running out. And then afterwards I got to see a doctor.
I feel like this is the bit that people don't really know. What actually, obviously, you cut your thumb, you're bleeding all over the place.
Yeah.
You do your press conference. What actually happens after you win Eurovision? Like, do you just kind of go back to the hotel room and sit and you're like, oh, well, I won. What now?
That would be funny. No, it's actually you leave the arena really late. I think it was like maybe 3:30 a.m. like in the morning when I left just like the whole Eurovision arena. And I remember, I might have this video and I could send it to you. I remember like the last thing I did was it was completely empty, like the whole backstage, the green room and everything. And I was just like taking a video of myself like running through the whole space because I was like, this was never this empty, and I'll be like the last person almost in here. And so I did that, and then I went out and found everyone at the hotel. Like my whole family was waiting for me in the lobby, and all my friends and people that produced on the song. And there was the option to go into like the whole Euro Club thing, but it was so packed, and I was just like, if I go in there right now, I'll just end up taking pictures the whole night, and I'd rather just talk to like my friends and family and like celebrate a little bit. So we went up to my hotel room and like opened some champagne there, and like a lot of people were really drunk at that point already, like me not, because I just came off stage, but all these people had like 4 hours to get like super drunk, and I was like not on the same level with like everyone. So I decided to just like go with a bunch of best friends and people that came, and other artists like to the beach actually, because we've never been to like the.
And that was where the TikTok came from, which Jay will probably put on screen here.
Yeah.
And that was what, 5 a.m., 6 a.m.?
Yeah. I think it was like, it was bright. It was super bright out. Maybe 5, 6. And after that, we wanted to get like some breakfast or coffee, but the breakfast at the hotel wasn't open yet. So we went to this like one cafe, like it's a big chain in Sweden. I don't remember the name. We just kind of like saw that someone was inside, but it wasn't open yet. We're like, are you open yet? And she was like, no. But she kind of looked at me and like, and realized like what happened. And she was like, you can just wait inside, I guess. And like, we was like 6 people, and we like went inside, and like, after 5 minutes, we realized, like, why are we doing this even? Like, we can't drink any coffee.
I love the idea that was, like, this, like, the cafe
this is
attendants.
so random also.
Like, the cafe attendants' 2 levels of, like, caring was 1, no, you're not allowed in. 2, oh, what, you just won Eurovision? Fine, you can sit inside, but I'm not serving you.
Exactly.
You get nothing.
Exactly. But you can sit inside. So we did that for 5 minutes. And then we went, then it was almost 7, so we went to the hotel and had
At that point, it's a nap.
There.
If you slept at all, it's a nap.
No, yeah, I didn't even sleep then. We had breakfast first. I slept probably like around 8 or 9, and then woke up at 3 or so to leave really fast. Like, my manager came to the room and it was scattered clothes everywhere, and I was still asleep, and everyone was just starting to like just put all these things into like various suitcases that were there that we didn't even know.
It's like, we need to leave now.
That's about it, I would say. That's what happens on a Eurovision winning night, I guess.
Amazing. The next item is Nemo losing their outfits. I'll let you explain this one.
I was headed to an interview in Switzerland. That was, I don't know, like sometime around March, like before like the heavy kind of Eurovision cycle started, like when it was announced, but kind of in between. And I took the train and I had my suitcase with me, put it somewhere and walked out and realized that it was on the train. And, you know, like this happens to me all the time, but I get really lucky because in Switzerland, like there's a good like system of like finding your luggage again. Like you type in which train you took and how the suitcase looks and blah, blah, blah. So I did that and I was like, hopefully I'll have it again, like in a few days.
Just, you know, in London, that doesn't happen here. It will be gone. You would have never seen it again.
Yeah.
But it came back.
Yeah, it came. It like, but it didn't come back after like a week or so. Like it took 3 months. So like all the outfits I had like for Eurovision, like I did everything like myself at first. Like I didn't have a stylist. I was just kind of like pulling pieces together that I liked, and kind of like maybe some pieces I got like from designers, but I kind of like just had to put it together myself. And there were so many clothes in there that I just then didn't have access to anymore. And I was like, what do I do? Like, it was so random, like the way I like picked outfits. I feel like in the process, like especially talking to other people, like Bambi Thug and their stylist Bo, they like had like everything figured out. Like they came to the pre-parties and they had like these amazing looks that they sourced like weeks before. And I was like, me, it was just like, oh wait, I have a show in 10 minutes in Madrid. Opening like my suitcase.
What's in my suitcase?
Yeah, like,
what did I grab when I was running out the house this morning?
Yeah, wait. This skirt and this, yeah. Why not? Like, it was super random. It was really random. But then I didn't have that suitcase anymore. And I thought I was never going to see it again. But fast forward, like in July, I get like this message from the train company, like, we found your suitcase.
I feel like that has gone through like a sort of paper-only 1970s system of like faxes and forms till eventually it's popped out the other end.
Yeah.
For those of you who aren't familiar with bureaucracy, I mean, I'm more familiar with the German bureaucracy rather than the Swiss bureaucracy, but like in some places it's paper everywhere. It's paper everywhere. You've got to go to the office, do everything.
Really bad for that. Yeah.
I lived in Bavaria.
Oh my god, yeah.
In rural Bavaria.
Oh my god, yeah. That's probably the worst of bureaucracy you could experience.
Yeah, it was horrible. I haven't forgiven you, Germany, for the Rundfunkbeitrag. Now,
The Rundfunkbeitrag.
Yes, awful. There is one more thing I wanted to tag onto this, which is that now, this was in the Euro Club, so I don't know how fuzzy your memory of this is. We said hello to each other after one of your rehearsals, and you said to me, by the way, I'm changing my outfit after today because I look like a chicken.
I was really drunk then, I think.
Do you remember the outfit?
Yeah.
And was there an actual discussion about the change, or was it never going to be the final outfit, or had you just not decided yet at that point?
No, it was another like very kind of last minute spontaneous Nemo moment, I guess. We rehearsed in this outfit twice. I think it was 2 rehearsals. And like even the first time I kind of realized like, okay, first of all, it's super heavy. Like there was like fur all over and it kind of was really hard to move in. Second of all, I felt like really kind of closed off in this area because there was like a huge like collar. I was in love with like the idea of this outfit because I talked so much to the designers in Stockholm, actually, 2 amazing human beings. Like they're both called Lena. They're working together. They're a duo, and they're both called Lena. And one is like the designer, and the other one kind of makes the clothes. And we talked about like what it should represent. You know, like kind of fluidity. It should be very beautiful in motion because we have like a lot of motion in the performance. And I loved the idea of it, but when I wore it, it just didn't feel great. And that's a really bad thing to tell like the whole like Swiss delegation like 4 days before the semifinal because we had time, you know, like we had multiple rehearsals.
So that actual outfit that you wore on stage was like a last minute where
yes, we literally like we walked around like Malmö trying to like find clothes. We were like, where do we go?
It looked so deliberate.
Yeah,
and it worked so well.
We got so lucky. We walk into this one store that we get recommended by actually my makeup artist that was also from Malmö. We walk in there and it's just this amazing designer. My style at the time was like super like colorful, pastel-y, like everything. It was like I walked into the Nemo style store and it like just made so much sense. And they had this jacket that was actually the jacket that I ended up wearing. And I was like, this looks amazing. Like, can I try it? And it kind of fit well, but they had to alter it a little bit. They also made a new skirt. They made that all in like 24
And so this
hours.
is all happening in Eurovision week.
All happening in Eurovision week. And I was like so stressed because I was like, oh my God, I want to feel good in this outfit, but I can't. And then you don't know if you're going to find a solution. And like, you're like, in 3 days, I'm having the semifinal if I don't have anything. And so then this is literally my only option. And I was really lucky. I guess I got really lucky and found amazing people. And they ended up even coming like backstage Eurovision, making like final adjustments. And it was like,
that's amazing.
Really, it was really nice. Yeah, we got really lucky, and now this is the final outfit, I guess.
On to the next item, which is Nemo hitchhikes to Malmö. So, why did you decide to do this? Firstly, and can you just explain? Were there some bumps in the road along the way? Pun not intended.
Yeah. Why did I choose to do that? Okay, so the delegation and my management, like, they both like agreed that I should get some free time before going to Malmö because it's been like every day, like interviews, promo, and it's just a good thought to like be like, okay, maybe 4 days before the actual Eurovision craziness begins, Nemo gets some time off. I was like, that's actually really good, but I was kind of afraid of the thought, like just being at home by myself and like kind of overthinking everything and getting nervous about what's to come. And I was like, my father one time made a joke like, maybe you should like hitchhike to yours. And I was like, I don't know, that kind of is a good idea because I love like little adventures and I love having like a little project to focus on, maybe kind of distracting me from everything else, kind of resetting my mind a little bit, putting the focus on something else. And I just asked one of my best friends, Imre, if he'd be down to go with me. And it was like, you're absolutely crazy, but I'll make sure that you don't get like lost on the way.
Or like kidnapped.
Yeah, oh my God, that'd be the worst. Like, yeah, my management made me like wear an air tag.
Wait, so you had a tracking device on you the entire time?
Just an air tag. If you want to call that a tracking device, yeah. I mean,
the thing I would hate was having the notifications. Could you be getting a notification all the time, being like, "There's an air tag traveling with you"?
No, it was mine. So like when you connect it to your this is super technical Apple like nerd things. But you connect it to your device, you're not going to get this like notification, which is really annoying though. It went pretty smoothly actually. Like the first morning we got really lucky because someone drove us all the way to Frankfurt.
Oh wow.
From Zurich, which is like a 5-hour drive, and we were like, okay, we even get to like spend a day here, maybe sleep in Frankfurt. We went to like a really cute restaurant. It's all in the vlogs. I feel like the one moment I really thought I fucked up was when I left my phone in this one car that we took. It was like this pastor, his name was Mark. He took us and we had a nice conversation, and luckily like he told us A, where he was from, B, what his name was and what he was doing, because then we Googled like his name and like town through Imre's phone.
You found the church he was in, or
no, we found like the number of his wife. Like the phone number, and we just ring her and we're like, yeah, so we were like, yeah, so your husband drove us like to this gas station, and we left our phone in there, like, is there any way of reaching him? And he drove all the way back to bring me my phone. in the meantime, luckily this was a super good gas station because they had flowers and wine. So I like got him like a little bouquet and like a bottle of wine to say thank you, because I was like, oh my God, this is like the worst. Like, you're literally being the nicest person, like picking up strangers, driving them like for an hour, and then you drive home, and then the strangers call you and are like, we left our phone in there. So I felt really bad, but he came back, and he actually made it onto like local news then, because they were like, somehow they figured out, and they were like, pastor drives like Eurovision contestants and brings them back their phone or something like that, which is really funny.
Well, thank you to, what was his name?
I think Martin, if I remember correctly, but it's all in the vlogs. You should watch the vlogs.
Thank you, Martin.
Yeah, Martin. I think it's Martin. I'd be really embarrassed if it. Yeah.
Sorry, Martin, if your name isn't Martin.
Not Martin. Yeah.
The next item is Taya, toilet call. I feel like this happened in an interview, didn't it? Do you want to explain what exactly is the background here?
Yeah, it was the Eurovision podcast, actually. The person interviewing me was like, do you want, like, you're close with Taya, right? Like, do you want to give her a call? So like, it was really rad. And I was like, yeah, why not? I could try. And I called Taya. Obviously, her not knowing that I'm in the middle of an interview. Yeah. And she picks up, and I'm like, I think the good thing was I like immediately go like, yeah, this is like an interview. Hi. And then she just goes like, I'm actually on the toilet. And that's all that it was. Like, we ended up talking for a few minutes, and it kind of was awkward because
So she gave an interview to Steve Holden from the Eurovision podcast while on the toilet.
Yeah.
But she was around from right at the start, right? She was at the songwriting camp at the very beginning.
Yeah. And Steve knew that as well. The first session I had in that songwriting camp was actually with Taya. I think she's like the biggest reason probably why I went to Eurovision, because I remember that there was this awkward moment like right at the start of the session where, because I was writing for a lot of other people at the time, and I thought they invited me to this Eurovision camp to write for other artists. And like, there's this awkward moment where I enter the session and it's like Taya and Tom. And I was like, no, wait. So Taya went this year for Austria. Like, so who are we writing for? I kind of look at her. She kind of looks at me and she's like, for you. Like, she's the reason that I even started writing for myself for Eurovision, and that was the first song, and I had so much fun that first day. We wrote like a really fun song called Dancing with the Truth, which is like, the song had to happen for the code to happen as well. The song was like super light and dancey, but it kind of had elements of the story of the code as well, like, because that was like just what I was like really excited about writing at the time. And we wrote that. I had so much fun, and then the next day I'm like, let's do this again for me, and that's when the code happened. So it was, I owe a lot to Taya for like writing that first song with me, and Tom as well, who was the producer that day. And yeah, we've been like close friends ever since. She's amazing.
Shout out to Taya. And we should also say she was robbed by the running order last year, and I'm not over it, and I don't think I ever will be.
Same.
Justice for Taya and Selena.
Justice.
The next item is Nemo in I Tried Airport Sleep Pods. So this is a video with now 20 million views of you being interviewed about trying an airport sleep pod. How did that actually happen?
I love this like one capsule hotel in Zurich. Like, I stay there a lot. It's like super well priced. You get like all the features. They have good pizza, and I'm like, I'm there a lot in that time. I hang out in the lobby like working. I'm on a phone call with someone, and then I see Ryan, the YouTuber, like, and I enter this hotel and like talking to strangers, like offering them candy, and I was like, wait, no, I know this person from YouTube. And I was on the phone with someone, and I told them, and they were like, no, you should go talk to him. And I'm like, that's not like, I never do that. Like, I feel like it's always a bit awkward, like going up to a person like that, but somehow this person like convinced me to do it, and I like got all my mojo and strength together, and I like go up to Ryan, and he's outside by then, and I'm like, hey, I just wanted to like hop by and say like I love like your videos. I've been watching like the the kind of Penny series. And he's like, oh yeah, thank you so much. I love Switzerland. I'm here like for a night. I'd love to come back. And like, so what do you think of the sleeping pods? Wait, do you mind if I film this actually? And so he like just puts the camera up and like we talk for like 5 minutes, and at the end he also offers me candy. Like he has like this new candy line. It didn't make it into the
walking
video.
around this lobby being like, "Hello, please take this. I'm gonna film you now."
Yeah. No, it was low-key really good though. Kind of like between like something fruity and like it felt kind of healthy, but it was still candy. Like I can recommend. But yeah, we ended up talking, and I made the cut of the video, which is really random.
I'm here with
Nemo.
Nemo. Is this your first time in a capsule hotel?
No, I'm here all the time. Like
Really?
it's great because you can like just stay here and then catch an early flight.
At that time, it wasn't even out yet that I'm going to Eurovision, so it was like double random. But it, like obviously he needs time to edit the video, so it was like perfect timing.
And now every top comment just says, "You interviewed the Eurovision winner. You interviewed Nemo," and so on.
Yeah, that's really funny.
That was all the items on the iceberg, but we are going to add one extra, and that is you get a free choice. Any story from this Eurovision season that you think is iceberg worthy that has not yet appeared.
Okay, this is definitely Iceberg worthy. So after the pre-party in Amsterdam, it was like maybe 1 a.m. or so, and like a few artists were like still like hanging out in front of the hotel close to the venue, and it was like a classic situation of like, oh my god, this like will probably only happen like once in our lives, but we all have to like catch a plane, or like I had to catch like a plane at like 8 or so the next day. But I was like, oh my god, I'm only gonna be here like once, like this pre-party thing. I don't know if I'll ever experience this.
You want to take most of it, right? You want to make the most of it.
Yeah, so a few artists and like their teams gather, and we're like, okay, let's find a cool queer club in Amsterdam. We do like a little bit of research. We find like a place. We hop into Ubers and we go there. And so the first suspicious thing was maybe that the club's name was like Free Willy. But like we didn't really, I don't know, we were already quite turned at this point. We were a bit drunk. We were like, okay, let's go there, let's figure this out. And you have to just imagine like 4 or 5 like Eurovision artists like in a line, like opening the door, entering this place, and like the first thing I see is like a naked person behind the cash desk at this club, and then like 2 people like hanging out, like kind of like smoking a cigarette, like fully butt naked, like
Was
kind
the
of
whole
like,
club?
yeah.
Oh my god.
The whole club was like, I don't know, it probably was a sex club or something. Like, I don't know if it was just like a nudist club and they were like all happy to be naked. I don't know, like we didn't investigate it any further. We were like kind of like opening it up, being like this, and then like looking at each other like, is this something we want to do? Then like, no. And then we moved on to a different place.
So you left Free Willy.
We left
Willy
Free
is no
Willy.
longer free.
Yeah, unfortunately. Would have been, I mean, it would have even more been an Iceberg contender if we actually like ended up.
Oh god, if
doing
you'd
it there.
stayed, yeah.
It was just not the vibe. No, it was not the vibe.
I'm just imagining you all arriving and looking around like.
Yeah, but
So like, you know that meme where the cat is, you know that one where the cat is sort of like just terrified, like what have we walked
exactly.
into?
I don't know why we didn't investigate it any further, like before we went there. I mean, the name kind of.
Well, now Free Willy is going to be on next year's Iceberg. With that, I want to say thank you so much to you, Nemo, for coming on and joining us. This has been, we first talked about this like 5 months ago, and it has been absolute torture keeping it secret for that time. So I am super excited that we are putting it out there. I also want to say thanks to everyone who's been watching, not just this video, but for the entire past year since we started this channel. I genuinely, and I don't think Jay can as well. Jay, you can come sit here. Come sit here. Don't kick things on your way in. We genuinely just want to say thank you so much, because this marks, roughly speaking, a year since our first video, and we cannot believe that there's more than 15,000 of you subscribed, that more than 1 million views now on the channel overall, and the winner of Eurovision is sitting next to us on a sofa. Everything about this journey has been amazing, and it is thanks to all of you. So here's to hopefully many more years of this. Now it's back to the, I don't know, it's not the studio, it's my living room. Back to my living room, because we still have tier 9 to do. By the way, if Nemo on the Iceberg video isn't on next year's Eurovision Iceberg, then I am going to be very annoyed. It's time for the final stretch. Tier 9, the bottom of the iceberg. Here are some of the strangest Eurovision-related things which happened this year, and also a couple that definitely shouldn't be in this tier. Starting off, we have Ollie Alexander at the Seagull Impression Championships. Here is Ollie Alexander and someone known only as Seagull Boy doing impressions of, well, seagulls. Sarah Benici, Spotify pictures. I said that a couple probably shouldn't be down here, and this is one of them, but it's still pretty funny. Sarah Benici's Spotify photo had a slight error after her management accidentally just uploaded a screenshot from their Google Drive. While we're on the subject of Sarah Benici, Malta replacing Netherlands in the final. On May 10th, while speculation continued to rage about whether the Netherlands would participate in the final or be disqualified, Sarah Benici put out an Instagram story teasing a big announcement for that evening. Fans immediately lost their minds and theorized that Sarah had finished 11th in the semi-final and had therefore been called up to participate in the final in Jost's place. The same speculation also hit Aiko from Czechia, who allegedly was seen rehearsing. Neither was true, and neither of these were ever on the cards. It was far too late by that stage to replace an artist with another. As for Sarah's announcement, she was simply releasing a new single, Nuts a Penis Balloon. I was hard at work on May the 10th, reporting on the important stories in the press centre. One of those was reporting on the arrival of a penis balloon with an unclear owner. At the time, I was unable to confirm who it belonged to, but luckily, Nutsa from Georgia later did a live stream on Instagram revealing that she was the owner of that penis balloon. La Gunilla Carr. Gunilla Persson from Sweden has already come up once in this series. Let's just remind ourselves of who she is. She's going to come up a few times in the next few minutes, so get used to hearing her name. In her effort to approach her Melfest performance, she got herself a car, printed her name on the side, and then did an Instagram video with it. This was all part of a promotion with an obscure car dealership in Uppsala. Felix Bergsson as the future first gentleman of Iceland. Felix Bergsson was the head of the Icelandic delegation at Eurovision until 2023. However, in 2024 he was replaced. This was because he was forced to step down because his husband was running for president. This meant that if he won, he would have to take up duties as the first gentleman of Iceland. Apparently, this doesn't include managing your country's Eurovision participation. Personally, I think that is exactly what the first gentleman of Iceland should be doing. In any case, unfortunately, his husband did not win the election this time around. Laura Estilaul pizza giveaway. Not content with simply shilling her hair products, Laura Estilaul this year also did a pizza giveaway. In collaboration with the restaurant Colm Tilly, if you shared this post, then you were in with a chance of winning a free pizza. The biggest problem here, of course, is that the best pizza in Tallinn is not at Colm Tilly. It's at F. Horner. Here's the address. If you ever go there, make sure to go and get their pizza. Thank me later. Debt collectors raid Gunilla's room. This is the second of 4 Gunilla entries in this tier of the iceberg. Also, probably my favourite. Owing to unpaid debts, on the morning after her semi-final at 8 AM, bailiffs arrived at Gunilla's hotel door. According to Aftonbladet, they confiscated Chanel shoes, 2 blazers, 4 necklaces, 4 bracelets, 6 rings, 3 bags and a dress. Gunilla insisted she was the victim of a witch hunt, but witch hunts usually don't come with court orders. Breskvica Belgrade blockade. After the darling of the Serbian far-right, Breskvica didn't win the Serbian national selection this year, her legions of supporters decided to take to the streets in her defense, in protest against this injustice. Unfortunately, despite the fact that the entire Serbian collected media showed up to film this protest, these 2 guys were the only people to show up at the start. Also in attendance was this guy, who showed up and shouted at the building, "You tore down the eagle's nest. Albanian pussies." FIK money laundering. Eyebrows were raised this year after the Festivali Ikenga's budget was significantly increased, despite the fact that the show was not that different from the one that followed the year before. We don't know whether this is true or not, but given this show's record, it wouldn't surprise me. Moldovan artists conspiracy. This is a fun one. After Aliona Moon withdrew from the Moldovan national final, this wild conspiracy theory appeared on Reddit that she didn't exist. Aliona Moon and countless other artists whose entire output is just Eurovision songs are actually fake projects set up by record labels. They hire session singers to perform for them when necessary, always supported by audio playback, and the few non-Eurovision songs released by them are just scrapped outtakes of other artists from the same labels. A Moldovan label creates tens of fake artists to increase their chance of getting to Eurovision because every Eurovision song gets enough attention on streaming media to earn the label lots of money for Moldovan standards. That's why you never hear people like her give extensive interviews until they get to the big stage, and why they barely release any music outside of Eurovision season. I can confirm, however, that Aliona Moon is in fact a real person. I'm maybe 80% sure this is baseless, but the confidence with which this was written just gives me a little pause for thought. Gunilla Persson gas station fan meetup. For some reason, Gunilla decided to host a fan meet and greet at a random petrol station. To be fair, the 10 people who showed up looked like they had a great time. Is Tudor Bombach alive? Firstly, yes he is. Now for the actual story. There is some worry that Eurovision institution Tudor Bombach's advanced age and the lack of information about his condition since his last participation in the Moldovan national selection in 2022 could have meant that he had passed away or that he was very unwell. Therefore, there was real celebration when Tudor appeared in the participants list in 2024. Hopefully, he will continue for many years to come. Personally, I'm of the opinion that he's immortal. Elsa Lila likes kill yourself comment. This comment on Elsa Lila's Instagram post says, "I am sorry, but this is Besa Kokodima's year," in reference to Festivali Ikengas, the Albanian national selection. The comment below that Elsa Lila liked simply reads, "Kill yourself." How lovely. BNT, 25th of November. The Bulgarian broadcaster posted in October 2023 that they would be announcing an artist for Eurovision on the 25th of November. This was a shock given that we weren't even expecting Bulgaria to participate in the show. Rapidly, this turned out to be too good to be true. The announcement was quickly deleted and an explanation was later posted saying that an old announcement was posted in error. Prisionero is written by John Lennon. Benidorm Fest participant Kiki Niza said that his song Prisionero was actually written by John Lennon, and that he had gained possession of it because he had a friend who knew Yoko Ono. I'll let you listen to the chorus of this song yourself and decide whether you think John Lennon wrote this. Gay Nephew UMK leak. UMK is the Finnish national selection. In November, so a full month and a half before the artists for this show were announced, a message from the user Laura Poldver 1944 appeared on the ESC United forums. This was the first and only message that they've posted on their forum, and it claimed that their aunt worked at the Finnish broadcaster and had chosen to surprise their gay nephew, i.e. the person posting, for their birthday by telling them the chosen artists for the Finnish national final. The post, perhaps unsurprisingly, voiced displeasure that Estonian representation in the show was coming from rapper Nublu instead of Laura Poldver, after whom they are named. This was rapidly disregarded by everyone involved, only for the artist reveal to come along in January and reveal that they had gotten every single one right. This is the greatest post on the ESC United forum since that one guy who suggested that Kurdistan could join Eurovision and save money on hosting costs by stealing electricity. Sarah Bonici's dad picking Hamran over her. Maltese representative Sarah Bonici's dad is also the chief executive of the football team Hamran Spartans. When asked which he would prefer to happen, his daughter winning Eurovision or the team he's the chief executive of winning the league, he picked the team winning the league, stating that it is the more likely outcome of the two. Ouch. Viva la Gunilla copyright claim. This is Gunilla's final Iceberg mention of the year. After she released a follow-up single to her first hit, entitled Viva la Gunilla, it was deleted from streaming platforms after a copyright claim was made. According to Gunilla, the reason for this was, "There is someone who is trying to destroy me, an unidentifiable person in this situation who I cannot name." Besa fake press poll. This year's Albanian entrant, Besa, was taken in by a fake press poll during the first week of rehearsals, when no press were even allowed in the press centre. Her optimism only set her up for a harder crash as she ended up right at the bottom of the semi-final leaderboard on the night. ESC voting app favours Aiko. We had this like 5 tiers ago, so I don't know why it's here. In brief, the Czech national selection held voting in the official Eurovision app. When you tapped a song's name, you weren't played a clip of it, instead it simply voted for that song straight away. This was suggested as a possible reason why Aiko did so well in the international vote, because she was first in the running order. Therefore, people trying to tap on the songs to hear them would simply vote for Aiko by accident. As I said before, there's no proof of this. This takes us to the final item, Kosher Fanny. This song was allegedly submitted to the Sammarinese national selection. Supposedly, it made it past the first stage.
Play with this thing. You know it tastes like candy. My legs like your fucking Moses. You wanna see what the most is? Play with my while I lick your. You know who to call.
Okay, enough. No, I can't do this anymore. I'm done. See you later. Jay, just play the credits. I'm off. Bye.
Boy, I know you want my kosher fanny. Drowning in those things. Light me play with this thing. You know it tastes like candy. My legs like your fucking Moses. You wanna see what the most is? Play with my while I lick your ass. You know who to call with the best fuck